Said the other in the house Sunday dear the media be sure say boys no do na be white aqua Sunday mako denya me ase every say and then nyame ayo makoma so de ama and na da boys no mu twa bet pa no omate asem da edikai e wo 2025 we no and na honorable council to forcing ekoba na kopiem e wo Ghana Parliament House ready budget for the second quarter of 2025 and the budget ready ni mono the almighty betting tax COVID-19 levy and E-Levy His Excellency John Dramani Mahama aba anan taxes miensa we nyina de free Ghana for eso aha Penyah block media mesra say any demo over like video na da roma over subscribe button na sabe click the notification icon for latest updates aba kire wa adwen e de ama me e wo comment section mesra wa eya no ase video na ba woni so enya bi ahye eturim say Akufo-Addo and MPP government ade ba kwa ma Ghana for ho omu ho ye Ghana for ahi na Ghana for ni bi tai omu kese pa COVID-19 tax e be senior na Ghana for da sutua E-Levy and a betting tax. In fact, betting tax. Betting tax in fact, John Kimai for you now bet time Akufo because Betiana boys at the sorts of tunga crack. Now bet I so then say annoyed. Even some of the MPP party members they were not content with MPP, they were not content with Akufo-Addo because of these taxes, but Omende and Yaba na Aba. Ene ana honorable case to force or finance minister PM Ghana Parliament House. That's all the budget for the second quarter of 2025 and I said budget for 2025 or the better Ghana for us. Before that who is member of parliament for Ada constituency. But now budget now you working kind of.
The budget is going to be because Ghanaians don't want too much talking. We don't want to hear inflation this, inflation that. All we want is we should have peace and we should have things reduced so that we can buy. All they want is to stabilize the economy. All they want is to put food on their table. So we need a budget that will put food on our table. We don't want to hear, and the inflation is this, inflation that, and that. We don't want to hear their big English. We want to see changes in our lives.
That is your finance minister presenting about.
Yes, we promise to reset Ghana, and the reset is going to start from today because a lot of levies will go off, and we know that will reduce the living cost a bit. They should stabilize the city. That's all we want. So it should be no long talk. I don't believe in long talk. Action. The action to start from today. That's all we are looking for.
Right. So you are an advocate for women, young girls. Should you also see the scrapping of tax on sanitary pads?
I have not heard anything about that yet already, but as women we are working on it, and the vice president is even working on it with hand in hand with us. So we will see some improvements. Even not scrapping at all, there will be some improvement or some change.
What I said, the budgets. The budgets. That's nice. Now, honorable Esther saying the budget reading and I say, oh, bro, no matter what na so.
Related arrests, we have commissioned an audit of these arrest payment and guarantee value for money before a penny will be paid. Mr. Speaker, before a penny will be paid, we'll commit to do that arrest. Right, Honorable Speaker, in addition to the 67.5 billion cedis in arrests, the validation process also revealed that MDAs have awarded contract to the tune of a minimum 194 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, this amount represents 16.5% of GDP as at the end of 2024. With the road sector again alone accounting for 100 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, most of these contractors and most of these contracts were awarded without commencement certificate and authorization. Mr. Speaker, this is in blatant violation of the Public Financial Management Act 921. Right, Honorable Speaker, let me now update you on our debt service obligations. Mr. Speaker, apart from the huge arrests and commitment, our fiscal situation is further complicated by huge bullet debt service and constrained fiscal financing options. Currently, Mr. Speaker, the government option to finance the budget is limited to only Treasury bill market following the debt restructuring program. Moreover, the forthcoming debt service of both domestic and Eurobond debt obligation will have profound implications for fiscal sustainability and balance of payment. Right Honorable Speaker, domestic debt service alone, programmed for the next 4 years, is 150.3 billion Ghana cedis. So, Speaker, simply put, the interest and principal payment that will be due for payment beginning now for the next 4 years is 150.3 billion Ghana cedis. This represents 11.6% of GDP in domestic debt service obligation alone.
Eho announce Rebecca said 2024 no, and this Omia campaign omode no fee stress for first year tertiary student. Campaign much them say omba bema obi biala or better form say or enter into university ne there any training college ne say or level 100 no. No fees untia hwe tuition ni bibia untia hwe. Eti neze Ghana for any that so air train. Eti na the budget or convention say, oh, the government has, allocated 449 million Ghana cedis to support this policy.
Mr. Speaker, an amount of 499.8 million Ghana cedis has been allocated for the non-academic fee policy for all first-year students in public sector institutions under the No Fee Stress Initiative. Mr. Speaker, we have allocated an amount of 292.4 million Ghana cedis to commence the distribution of free sanitary pads to female students in primary and secondary schools. Mr. Speaker, we have allocated again an amount of 242.5 million Ghana cedis to support the victim of Akosombo Dam spillage. Right Honorable Speaker, we have also allocated an amount of 200 million Ghana cedis to support the victim of tidal wave disaster that recently displaced residents in certain parts of Ketu South constituency.
It is a Ghana for budget in the course of Ghana for Gusu 8 years. Almost you the air train the abolition of these taxes. After Honorable Emekasa, the whole one's honorable ABTSC betting taxes and E-Levy. Next year we need a whole source. Honorable Mekasa, betting tax, E-Levy, COVID tax, wine tax, blood tax, headache tax, BBR tax. Removed.
This will ease the burden on households and improve their disposable income. Right Honorable Speaker, the removal of these taxes will ease the burden on households and improve their disposable incomes. In addition, it will support business growth and improve tax compliance. Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, the tax refund account has been abused in recent years. In the last 8 years, a study revealed that 29.1 billion Ghana cedis had accrued to the tax refund account, with only 12.5 billion Ghana cedis, representing 43% of the total accrued amount, being used for tax refund purposes. Mr. Speaker, the study also revealed that 16.6 billion Ghana cedis, representing 57% of the total amount accumulated in the tax refund account, was misapplied. Mr. Speaker, which is a total violation of the Revenue Administration Act 915 and the Public Financial Management Act. Instructively, Mr. Speaker, there were virtually no tax refund arrests over the period. Mr. Speaker, and therefore, we are reducing the current tax refund ceiling by 2 percentage points from 6% to 4% of total revenue, as defined in Section 69 of the Revenue Administration Act 915. Mr. Speaker, by reducing the ceiling on the tax refund from 6% to 4%, Right Honorable Speaker, we have saved the taxpayer 3.8 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, this amount is enough to close the revenue shortfalls from the removal of the E-Levy and the betting levy. Mr. Speaker, the E-Levy would have accrued 1.9 billion Ghana cedis, and the betting tax would have accrued 180 million. The two put together is just above 2 billion Ghana cedis. By reducing the tax refund account from 6 to 4, it is enough to remove this tax, and the savings will be provided to take care of social interventions. Mr. Speaker, already we have saved 3.8 billion cedis for 2025 alone from one source, and this is enough to close the gap from the taxes we have removed today. Mr. Speaker, to address the concerns from well-meaning Ghanaians on how we are going to close the revenue shortfalls as a result of the removal of the selected taxes, the answer is that we have stopped the bleeding. We have stopped the bleeding. Mr. Speaker, accordingly, with this budget, we will amend the Revenue Administration Act 2016, Act 915. This measure will improve the tax revenue net of tax refund by 2%, representing 0.3% of GDP. Mr. Speaker, in line with government policy, the 2025 minimum wage recently negotiated with the National Tripartite Committee will be zero rated. This is consistent with our resolve to protect the poor and the vulnerable. Mr. Speaker, again, without increasing the levy, we will also review the Energy Sector Levies Act to consolidate the energy debt recovery, the Energy Sector Recovery Levy, and the Sanitation and Pollution Levy into one levy and use the proceeds to cater for energy sector shortfalls and service the inherited debt service obligation. Mr. Speaker, the reset has just begun. Right Honorable Speaker, the rest of the energy sector levies, including the Road Fund Levy, Energy Fund Levy, Price Stabilization and Recovery Levy, Public Lighting Levy, and National Electrification Levy will remain to support the achievement of their intended objectives. Right Honorable Speaker, Ghana has not sufficiently capitalized on the benefits of its extractive sector to generate revenue to support development and diversification. We have failed to leverage our natural wealth by capturing its rent and channeling it towards productive infrastructure and human capital. Natural resource rent, which is the difference between the revenue of a commodity and the average cost of producing that commodity, is about 14% of GDP in the case of Ghana. However, Mr. Speaker, revenue from extractive industry is around 1.5% of GDP only. This is because, as a country, we have failed to fully capture the economic rent of our natural resources. Mr. Speaker, whereas global gold prices have seen some significant increase in recent times, Ghana has not been able to take full advantage.
I see ade enije abafi Melbourne na start airport me won say code Mickey wa be hu video I say nani ade code Mickey de wa o pay bet pass code Mickey was as serious no. Let's say oh no. Ubetumi no bonsam aton say didi. Yes, ubetumi no bonsam aton say didi. Ubetu akere wa adwene e wa comment. What is your take on this? This is a good initiative. And as a Steve said, no, he could have maintained it. Kere wa adwene e wa comment section. Now, how do you also feel? She was in a good comment section. Aha Penyah Block Media. Okay.